Climate change is a scam. It's a hoax. A hoax that's been perpetrated on you by your own government. It's just a money-making machine for them. I know climate change makes you feel all warm and fuzzy and comfortable inside when you pull up to the gas tank and you get no lead gas, or maybe you got a Tesla and you pull up and you fill up with watts and amps so you're not burning carbon. Makes you feel really good, doesn't it? But it's a scam, and they're playing you like a fiddle. Climate change comes with two buckets. One bucket holds money, and the other bucket holds excuses. And that's what your politicians, your government gets out of climate change. It gives them great excuses, everything you blame on climate change. And it gives them lots and lots of money. Carbon tax this, carbon tax that, regulation for this, regulations for that. Plus, anything they want to pass, they just attach climate change bill to it. Want to attach water regulations, keep the little fish alive, attach a climate change to it. It's perfect for everything. Cures everything. It's like a penicillin. But unfortunately, it's just a scam. Here's John Stossel's show. I'll make some comments on what he's said, just to get my point across.
You've heard the news. 97% of scientists agree.
Climate change is getting worse.
Carbon could cost us the planet. Just look out the window.
Look out the window? Because it's a hot day and her tiny piece of the world?
Run for your life. It's climate change is coming. It's just around the corner. The polar bears are dying by the thousands.
How shallow is that? And what does it mean when we hear...
The debate is settled.
97%.
97%.
97.
Always be careful when politicians say, we're not even going to talk about this anymore. It's a done deal.
7% of scientists agree.
Of course I believe in global
Now here's a scientist that might not agree.
warming.
Pat Michaels is called a climate change denier, but he agrees that the globe is warmed.
97% of scientists agree that global warming is real and people have something to do with it.
Climate changes.
Climate changes.
Temperatures up 4
97%. Can't argue with that.
degrees since what's called the Little Ice Age.
You see, the climate's always going to do one of three things. It's either going to be going up, temperature-wise, or it's going to be going down, or it's going to be staying the same. It's got to do one of those three things.
Hundreds of years ago, and up 2 degrees over the past century. The real question is it dangerous? Is it going to harm people?
Exactly.
There's not a 97% consensus on that?
Of course there's not.
Now, I think you're going to remember this guy, Al Gore. Remember, he beat Bush in the election, but it was taken away from him. You know, the Democrats, they say, you got to believe the results unless it's against their guy. And then, you know, they go on and on and on about, oh, Al Gore still won, blah, blah, blah.
I recently sat down with the former vice president and asked him about the environmental debate as we head into a brand new decade.
All around the world, there is a rising movement of people determined to solve this crisis.
Yep. You can convince people of anything.
What do you count, though, for in the United States, while there is actually more scientific agreement, there seems to be less political agreement?
Some of the largest carbon polluters have been vigorous and try to convince people, as the tobacco industry did years ago on the...
Yep. Anybody who tells you that climate warming or climate change is a farce is the same as the tobacco companies. They're lobbyists, just like lobbyists for the tobacco companies. If you're against climate change, you're no better than those scumbags. At least that's what they're trying to make you believe.
Link between smoking cigarettes and lung disease, that there really isn't a link between global warming, pollution, and global warming. But the power of that kind of lobbying and advertising does have an impact.
You know, some of the models say it takes X number of years, even if you stopped pouring stuff into the atmosphere now, how many years it would take for the environment to recover. Is it too late to do it?
No, and I actually start the book with a discussion of that question.
Starts his book, which he made a few dollars on. In fact, let's see how much money Al Gore has made off of global warming. So you can see in this article from the Daily Mail, Al Gore has made $330 million with climate alarmism. Yep. Tell you what, climate change is paying pretty good. I think for $330 million, you could get me to say anything you wanted to about any topic. You just tell me what you want me to say. I'll line up and tell you, baby. $330 million, that's a lot of money. Let's see, former vice president made a fortune after losing to George W. Bush when he set up a green investment firm now worth $36 billion. So I guess the $330 million was just pocket change. His firm's worth $36 billion. That's with a B. Oh, and it pays him $2 million a month. Man, I tell you what, I love this climate change stuff. Now, obviously, if climate change is the terrible thing they say it is, then everyone would agree, right? Couldn't beat that. Well, let's see what these guys say.
Of world leaders and climate change experts are descending on Copenhagen to try to come up with a new pact to
These are experts.
slow global warming. And thousands of protesters across Europe today were trying to send them a message. It's time to stop talking and make a deal.
Nothing like a good old climate change protest rally.
But reaching that deal has now been complicated by what's being called ClimateGate, a
ClimateGate.
string of hacked private emails between global climate change scientists in the U.S. and Europe, which have cast doubts on the very science this summit is based on.
Doubt? Wait, we can't have doubt. You see, this is backed by the U.S. government, by politicians. And you have to believe in climate change or you're an idiot.
Emails seem to show that some of the world's top experts decided to exclude or manipulate some research that didn't help prove global warming exists.
Scientists that were manipulating evidence. You know, if you really think it, what is a scientist? A scientist is a person, they look at evidence that they gather through experiments, and they just look at it, and it's either black or white. It's either right or wrong. They don't try and push it one way or the other. Nah, it's just whatever it is the truth until people get involved. As soon as people get involved, all hell breaks loose. It really gets screwed up. What was it that Mark Twain, Samuel Clemens said? There's lies, damn lies, and then there's statistics. He even knew way back then.
The temperature went down the next year, and it's only spiked a couple of times since. An email from 1999 shows scientists worked hard to demonstrate an upward trend. They talk of using a trick to hide the decline in global temperatures. It worked like this. When temperature readings gathered from studying tree rings showed what looked like a decline in temperatures from the 1980s to the present, the scientists added in measurements taken later by more modern instruments, which gave them the answer they wanted.
The answer they wanted. Now, why in the world would they be pushing climate change so hard? For one reason only. Well, two reasons, really. They wanted to keep their job at the university, and they wanted that paycheck. You see, the government had made it very clear. You screw with us, and we'll screw with you. You want to lose that professorship at the college? No problem. Talk out against climate change. Do you not want any funding on your next project? No problem. Talk out about climate change. I mean, it was like they were all puppets. Just, you tell us what to say and we'll say it. Screw the experiments. Screw the evidence. You just tell us what to say. Yes, sir, we'll be stepping in line. That's what climate change is. It's just a bunch of scientists that want a paycheck. They don't want the pressure, the issues, the BS. What happened to scientists? I mean, they were given such a great calling, and they screwed it up. Okay, guys, let's see what this well-known scientist thinks. In fact, he won a Nobel Prize in Physics. Must be pretty smart.
John F. Clauser won the Nobel Prize in Physics in 2022. A few months later, he came out as a climate change denier. He believes that climate change is a total myth.
I believe climate change is a total myth.
Oh dear. Clauser just recently gave a talk at a conference in which he explains that climate scientists are, quote, clueless and dishonest, and why he's the only one who can correctly calculate how the Earth isn't warming. So grab some popcorn and let's go.
So anyways, he's just one scientist. I mean, he could be wrong. Won a Nobel Prize in Physics. Must be pretty smart. But, you know, I'm sure there's a parade of other scientists saying, oh, you're wrong. You can't be right, as they accept their paycheck from the government or their university, who gets their money from the government. So anyways, there you go. You're being screwed. You're being naive. Climate change is a hoax. But hey, Al Gore made $330 million from it. Can't be too bad, right? Okay, guys, let's see what my hero has to say about this. Let's see what President Trump really thinks of climate change.
Trump believes climate change is a hoax. We know this because he has said it over and over again.
So Obama's talking about all of this with the global warming and that, and a lot of it's a hoax. It's a hoax. I mean, it's a money-making industry, okay? It's a hoax.
He thinks it's a hoax. I think it's a hoax. The guy that won the Nobel Prize thinks it's a hoax. You're getting suckered. And you just don't know it. Maybe you do know it, but it makes you feel good. So, if you agree with me, put it in the comments. If you disagree with me, please put it in the comments. You can hit like and or you can hit subscribe. Anyways, it's appreciated. See you next time.